Hello everyone and welcome to Biological Psychology, Psych 210. I thought I would go ahead and post a little video to let you all know a little bit about who I am and what this class is going to be and what you can sort of expect going forward. So, I am Dan Coakley. I am your instructor for this course. I'm a behavioral neuroscientist. My primary research interest, generally speaking, is in the neurobiology of learning and memory. Most recently, I've been doing work on individual differences in addiction and addiction vulnerability. So a little bit about my background. I got my bachelor's in psychology and English at Wittenberg University. After that, I got my master's and a PhD from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. After getting my PhD, I spent about 2 years as a postdoctoral research fellow at University of Maryland School of Medicine in the Department of Anatomy and Neurobiology. That's when I started working on the whole addiction angle. So what is biological psychology, or behavioral neuroscience? This is application of the principles of physiology to the study of psychology, which is the study of mental processes and behavior. So we're looking at sort of what's going on in the brain in terms of psychological concepts. This is designed to give you some experience with many topics within biopsych. So it's a survey course where we talk about a lot of different things. This is a psychology course taught by a psychologist, which is me. So it's designed to prepare you for upper-level neuroscience coursework because it's somewhat introductory. We have a diverse group of students with a diverse set of interests. Some of you are just trying to check boxes for a psych major. Many of you might be interested in going on to a neuroscience-focused career. Some of you might be interested in going into medicine. Some of you might have no interest in any of those things. So I promise there's something for everybody here, regardless of what your background or what your goal is. Okay, so you might be one of the people who's saying, I already know how neurons and stuff work. I took bio, why do I have to listen to all of this again? Well, neuroscience is a really broad area based in many different disciplines, so you're naturally going to run into some overlap between departments. Things might seem redundant, especially if you've taken like a course in neurobiology from the bio department, but I guarantee you, once we get out of the gate, I'm going to be emphasizing different things, and this is going to be a very different course from other stuff you may have taken. Don't worry, even if you feel like you know a lot, we'll get out of your comfort zone soon. You might be saying, well, I don't want to be a neuroscientist. What do I care about learning all of this neuron stuff? You might be interested in something like clinical psychology or therapy or something like that. But what I would say is, okay, let's say you're interested in something bigger like that. You're interested in, treating human patients. Let's take another example. Let's say you really like architecture and you really like, cathedrals. You're really a big admirer of the National Cathedral here. You think, I want to design big cathedrals one day. Well, to do that, you have to understand some engineering, right? You have to be able to draw blueprints and be able to sort of construct a sound structure. And to do that, you need to understand math, right? If you can't calculate some basic geometry type stuff, you're going to have a really hard time building some blueprints. And if you can't design good blueprints, you're going to make a very, very bad cathedral. By the same token, let's say you want to be working with a clinical population of maybe depressed patients. You say you want to help people feel better. Well, if you don't understand the medication they're on and how that works, you're going to have a really hard time helping them. So you might want to understand, okay, this is a depressed person, they're on some Prozac. You might want to understand how that works. And to understand how those drugs work, you need to understand how the nervous system works, how neurons work at a fundamental level. If you want to know how an SSRI or a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor improves mood, you need to know what serotonin does in the first place. You need to know how this drug changes the brain to make people feel better and what happens when they stop taking this drug. So to be the best therapist you want to be, you need to understand things all the way down to a very fine-grained level. So why should you care? I'll make the claim now that I think that no matter what you do, you'll be better at it if you understand the fundamentals of behavioral neuroscientists. Could be something as simple as understanding how drugs like alcohol and caffeine work, or to becoming a more responsible consumer of scientific research. Understanding these things will help you at least in some aspect of your life. All right, so let's get into the reason why you're probably really watching this video. How do you do well in this class? Well, the first thing is to read and understand the syllabus. This document lays out my expectations for you, and it's a really good idea for you to understand it up front. In fact, I'm pretty much requiring you to understand it up front, but I'll get to that in a minute. Complete any preparatory assignments prior to class. So we'll have in-person sessions on Thursday and Friday, and you really need to have all of the coursework, so in terms of reading and video watching, completed prior to when we meet. You need to engage with the material. That is both asynchronously and synchronously. So when we're apart and when we're together, you need to be engaged and working on this stuff. When we're in class together, when you're listening to the videos, when you're working with the material, listen and process and jot down notes. Don't just try to transcribe what I'm saying, and don't transcribe the slides. The slides are available on study and study well. Space out your studying and do so in a quiet environment. If you spend, even a shorter amount of time, maybe an hour, effortful studying in a quiet, relaxed environment will do you a lot more good than trying to half study, half fall down a YouTube hole. You're going to get a lot more out of just focusing for a shorter amount of time. Space out your studying. Avoid just cramming for things. We know that space studying leads to better retention both in the short term, so tests and quizzes that are coming up, and the long term, recalling the basics when you're in later classes years down the road. And don't be shy about reaching out if you're having trouble, or even if you're not, you just want to say, hey, don't be shy about saying hello. So this isn't my first time teaching a course like this, so let's go ahead and look back at some advice that previous students have given at the end of the course they took with me. The most common piece of advice is to keep up with your reading, followed by studying for quizzes. So space out your studying. Attending class, paying attention. Studying quizzes is a way to do better on subsequent exams. Paying attention to review stuff, visiting office hours, so getting to know me, and having those slides on hand prior to engaging with material tend to help some people. So here's some selected feedback. I asked students what was some advice you would give yourself if you could at the start of this course. I'm not going to read all of this to you. You can find the slides online if you're curious about what people have said previously. But basically, be open-minded, have fun, engage with the course. Don't be overconfident. The course can be pretty challenging. Laugh at Dan's jokes. He's hilarious. That's true. Do keep that in mind as we move through the course. Come to the class, pay attention, study for the quizzes. This student says, class isn't rocket science. Just put in the effort, read up, and ask questions if you're confused. That's definitely a good point. If you are confused, don't just sit there in misery. Ask me. I don't mind helping. And be ready for all the information and study, space out your studying. You'll do. Okay, so obviously physical office hours aren't a reality this semester. You cannot come to my physical office, but you can meet with me virtually. You can schedule a meeting with me by following that link. I'm using that Calendly app, which will show you when I have availability in my calendar, and you can make an appointment with me. It'll automatically create a Zoom session for us to have a chat in. So go ahead and take a look at that, and don't be shy about reaching out if you want to have a chat. Okay, so how is this course structured? We have both synchronous and asynchronous components. The asynchronous components are the part that we do apart. This is basically preparing you to show up for the in-person sessions. So you need to read the book, engage with the mini lectures, take the quizzes, and complete lab assignments. We'll talk more about all those things kind of in more detail. It's on you to sort of manage your schedule and keep up with the work. Don't fall behind on stuff, but if you find that you are falling behind or having trouble for any number of reasons, don't hesitate to. This course also has a synchronous component. You are a small course, so I'm able to meet with you sort of in smaller groups and work through the material together, which I think is great. You're required to attend your online session each week. This will be a Zoom call during class time on Friday or during the lab block on Thursday. So Section 10 will meet with me on Thursdays, and Section 11 will meet with me on Fridays. And I can email everyone and let them know, let you all know what section you're going to be in. You can also just look at your schedule and see if you're in Section 10 or Section 11. If that session doesn't work for you because of a life conflict, let me know and I can probably switch you to a different section. These sessions will contain different stuff every week. We'll cover whatever seems to be most important. This could be discussion, review. Maybe I could go over some slides again for people if you're having some trouble with something. We can do question and answer sessions. I can demonstrate concepts. So we'll have different stuff every week, but it's going to be kind of tailored to what you all. Some examples of things we might do during class. Lecture. If things are particularly confusing, so for example, I see in the perusal lectures for the week that people are having trouble with a specific concept, I can organize my thoughts on that and go through it again with all of you in person. We can have some discussions. So there's some really, really cool stuff in biopsych that's really interesting, complicated, or even ethically questionable. So we might have some fun discussions about that stuff. There'll also be some activities, so demonstrations of psychological concepts. So again, this will vary from week to week, and you all have some influence over that. If there's something you really want to see, let me know, and we can make sure that So mini lectures. This is going to be a big portion of the course. These are brief 5 to 10 minute lectures that are recorded over key topics. These are meant to supplement the reading, so I can't possibly record lectures over everything that we need to cover. So these are meant to as a supplement in addition to your reading. You cannot slack on the reading. You must keep up with the reading. Please watch these on Perusal. This is a learning technology platform that allows you to comment on videos, either anonymously or with your name attached, have conversations with other students, etc. So I'm going to ask that you all watch these videos on Perusal and engage with them on there. I'll read all these comments, and that'll let me know where you guys are all standing with the online session, so I can prepare content. Lectures will also be posted to YouTube for accessibility, so if you'd like to watch them in a different format, you can do so there. But please do watch them on Perusal as well, or leave your comments on Perusal so I can see where you're having difficulty. Okay, a brief look at the grading rubric for the course. There are 8 quizzes with 1 drop, 6 lab assignments, 3 exams with 1 drop, a final exam that is cumulative and not droppable, and a participation component. Okay, so let's go through these things one by one. You'll have 6 lab reports to complete throughout the semester, which are worth 20 points each. As I mentioned earlier, you'll have more details for each lab as they are posted. We're not accepting late work, so make sure your lab reports are in on. Okay, so quizzes. You'll have 8 quizzes worth 10 points each. One of these can be dropped. Multiple choice and short answer questions. The concepts and questions on the quizzes are very, very likely to show up on subsequent exams. The whole point of these is to encourage space studying rather than just cramming for the exams. This will help with your long-term retention. These are going to be fully open book and open note with a long time limit, so you should have plenty of time to complete these. If you have test taking accommodations that make this kind of a bad fit, if this doesn't really work, please let me know and we can try to work with OHS and figure something out. Okay, exams. There are 3 exams. They're worth 100 points each, and a final exam worth 125 points. The lowest exam will be dropped, though you cannot drop the final, and the final is cumulative. These will consist of multiple choice, short answer, and long response questions. Again, if you have special test taking accommodations that will not work with this format, let me know and we can try to figure something out. This is fully open book and open note. These are going to be in sort of a take-home style, so you'll have about a week to complete each of these exams. Fully open book, fully open note. If you have any questions about that, please. If you have a dispute with one of your grades, if you disagree or are confused by the way something has been marked, let me know, ideally within 1 week of receiving that grade. Most of the time, it's a mistake on my end. I've graded something wrong or put something wrong in the key, and I can just fix it. I'll explain the grade to you, and if you still disagree, we might have to have a conversation about it. I might ask you to write something up to sort of justify your claim, but most typically it won't come to that. We can just sort of figure it out. I'm sure you're wondering about extra credit. The best way to get extra credit is to attend an approved talk or colloquium and writing up a brief reaction to that talk. You can earn up to 5 extra credit points by doing this, and you may do so up to 3 times. There may not necessarily be 3 opportunities. I'm not really sure what shape this is going to take this semester. There's some talk about bringing speakers onto campus in sort of a digital format, but that's not really something that has been solidified. If that happens, I will certainly let you know. Another option might be to seek out live or very recent talks that have happened in sort of, a broader sense, something that's online through a conference or an invited lecture somewhere else. If that is related to a topic we're covering in this course, that might be acceptable. So let me know about that ahead of time, and if it looks like a good venue, I can disseminate that information to the class. In addition to the talks, each test will have a small amount of extra credit that you can potentially earn. All right, I wanted to very briefly go over the courseware that we're going to be using in this course. Perusal is the only kind of thing that you might not be very accustomed to using. If you go into Canvas, you can find the Perusal link in the bottom left. Following that should take you to the landing page for this course. You should automatically be enrolled in Perusal once you click over. This is my first time using Perusal, so there may be a hiccup or two, so go ahead and try this and let me know if it doesn't really work. The first assignment that's up there, and the only one that's available right now, is the Read Over the Syllabus assignment. What I want you to do is go ahead and click on the Assignments tab and then click on Work on Assignment to open this up. Your task is to read over the syllabus and to leave a comment. Leave a nice, normal comment that a student would leave, like this one. I ask you to please leave your name attached to it so I can see who you are and sort of get a sense of that, who's able to access Perusal and who's having trouble. This will let you sort of leave comments and have conversations with one another and sort of do what we can to preserve some kind of a sense of community when we're engaging with stuff. I'm also going to post the videos here so you can all watch the videos in Perusal and leave comments, and that will let you sort of talk with one another and also let me know what's confusing so I can help with that. Okay, so doing this whole thing online is difficult for a lot of reasons. Please let me know if you have any issues accessing our content. This could mean in terms of infrastructure, so maybe you can't get into Perusal or something's wrong with Canvas. Reach out to me and we can fix it. If you're having trouble with personal computer or internet access, let me know. We can try to work around whatever issues you've got. Anything else? There can be lots of reasons why you might be having a barrier to success in this course, so reach out and let me know and we'll see what we can do. As I mentioned, office hours are still a thing. You cannot physically come to my office, but we can do the video chat thing. Follow the link in my email signature or on the syllabus to schedule a meeting with me. We can also do small group meetings. If you and some people you know from the class would like to chat with me all at once, we can definitely do that. I know the whole online video meeting thing is super weird, but it'll be fine. We'll make it as not weird as possible. Please, I want to reiterate to communicate with me. These are weird times. There are lots of reasons you could have lots of issues. Reach out to me if you're having trouble. I want to preserve our small classroom community as much as we can, so engage with Perusal, reach out when you're having trouble, don't be afraid to make appointments with me. I guess most importantly, stay safe and